I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what you're saying.
But
Well, that makes sense.
but I could feel the land, and I could feel the energy through the music, and it was almost like I didn't need to know what you were saying. It felt like there was such a deep connection through the music that I could almost close my eyes and feel like I was in Greenland and getting that transmission. I'm really excited to talk to you. Really interesting times, and I came across you actually from the New York Times article recently, and I was listening to your music today, and I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what you're saying, but
Well, that makes sense.
but I could feel the land, and I could feel the energy through the music, and it was almost like I didn't need to know what you were saying. It felt like there was such a deep connection through the music that I could almost close my eyes and feel like I was in Greenland and getting that transmission almost. Do you try and do that purposefully, or do you feel like that just comes out?
We've heard that a lot of times actually, when we perform overseas. Um, but no, it's not really on purpose. I think it just comes out naturally. We get so much inspiration from the nature up here, so I think it's just normal to us to involve these kinds of sounds. The mood, yeah, it's so full of contrasts up here. It's so beautiful. The landscape, the ocean, the mountains, the northern lights, and all these kind of things. Very beautiful, and at the same time, we're struggling with lots of social issues in Greenland. So yeah, I think it comes very natural that we use the nature as metaphors to some of the heavier subjects that we write about. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a responsibility now on you to sort of stand up where there hadn't been before? Because I'm speaking to so many people now, and it seems like the ones who are leading with their heart are having these incidents or moments or situations where they're sort of being thrust into the limelight in order to talk about things which, they might not normally, talk about or want to put their head above the parapet for. But artists, creatives, people who lead from the heart seem to be going through these situations now where they're being kind of forced to act and speak up and have some sort of social responsibility in that sense.
I think that's the case for us as well in the band Nanook. It took some time before we started to say yes to all these reporters contacting us. I think what the purpose, I mean, the reason for it was all these fake news that we've been seeing, especially from the States. There's been so many things that weren't true about Greenland. That yeah, we felt kind of responsible to. It was time for us to give our point of view, how it really is up here. So yeah, it felt right to not just keep quiet anymore. So yeah, I think it was a good choice. I think, so people outside of Greenland can get the facts right. Yeah.
And what is happening that you feel socially that you kind of need to address or that you've wanted to address? What
I
is
think
going on
many
over there?
I think many of the things that's been in the press in the U.S. About that we all want to become an American state. That's how it all started. That we really want to be American, and that there are Russian and Chinese ships all over the place up here. All these kind of fake news were hard to just sit and watch and listen to when we know that's not true up here. So I think that is the things that triggered, especially me and some others in the band, that we have to start speaking up about what's really happening here. Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
I guess you'd feel like you're being used for propaganda in that sense, and
very much.
that would feel extremely sickening and intrusive and
Quite scary,
and
actually.
scary.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, you get this whole new idea of what the press is capable of, and social media. So yeah, I think we've been good, among others up here. Good to speak up at the right time, I think. Yeah.
Do you what is it like being in the music industry over there? Like how big is it? How is it kind of how does it move forward? How is it funded? How do you kind of operate within that? And are you just like kind of comfortable in that sphere, or do you feel like you want to that now this has caused you to have to kind of branch out and go to different places with your music?
I think in general the music is moving forward in Greenland, and has been doing for a while. But it's very limited. Being an artist in a this small population, we're almost only 60,000 people. So you can't just I mean you can't live of touring in Greenland. So yeah, we hope that we can get more overseas shows. We are one of the few lucky bands in Nanook that we get invites from outside of Greenland. But many bands who are very good up here, they never leave the country. So yeah, it's very limited. There's not much economy in music business up here. Um, I mean, because there are so few people. So yeah, we usually fundraise. Many artists fundraise if they're going on tours, or maybe they can get lucky to get invites from festivals around the world. I mean, we've been pretty lucky the last 10 years, but yeah, very limited, very limited. And I think, of course, it has. There's more opportunities at the moment when the focus is on Greenland. Many artists you see in the news all over the world, not only Nanook, but also other artists. And I think that's a good thing. You get heard where you normally wouldn't hear about Greenlandic music. So I think also this way to speak up through the music is very beautiful. And sometimes we can mention things easier through the music that we can't speak about up here. So it's a very good way to express ourselves. Yeah, through the music. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel kind of that's a fundamental thing when being an artist is that you can I know I can struggle to voice myself in forums like this or in person with people, but it becomes a lot easier when it's through the music, and
yeah,
I can really take my time to make sure that that message comes across not only in the lyrics but in the feeling and in the music itself,
yeah,
what I'm trying to transmit. And there's like there's a subconscious transmission happening, which is what I felt with your music. It felt like I was connected to the ancestry through that without even needing to understand that. There was a bodily feeling
mm.
of that. How did you all meet, and did you all vibe immediately? And are you kind of linked in your heritage in that sense?
Yeah. I mean, me and my brother Frederick, who's also in the band, we write the music and the lyrics. And before we made this band Nanook, we were in another band for a pop artist in Greenland, a female pop artist, very well known back then, like 15 years ago. So she needed musicians for her band, and she chose me and my brother. And Martin, the drummer, was already in that band. So that's how we kind of learned being in a band. And me and Frederick had a lot of songs never released songs at that time. So we had a dream of making our own music and wanting to tour with our own material. So the bass player back then was in the band too, the pop artist band, but he was only there for like 1.5, almost 2 years. And then Andreas, our bass player, who lived in Nuuk back then, up here in Greenland, who we knew was one of the very good bass players. We asked if he could be interested in joining the band, and we already knew him. So and the keyboard player Mads, my brother, worked with him when he lived in Denmark for a while in the same music shop. So that's he recommended that guy. So, and he was born in Nuuk. So we all kind of had this connection to this capital Nuuk here, and became very close friends. And we loved touring. We've been together 15 years now, and it's crazy because two of them live in Copenhagen, near Copenhagen, and the rest of us, three of us, live here in Nuuk. So we don't see each other every day. We only see each other when Nanook is going to perform somewhere, and that's pretty exciting every time to meet and rehearse and going on tour. So yeah,
What's
it's
your
an
process like then if you're not in the same country? How do you work with that? Do you kind of just send projects back and forth and
yeah, very
discuss
much.
things? Yeah.
Yeah, and it has become easy now with the
Yeah, for sure.
social media, so we send each other notes, clips of sounds, all kinds of things before we rehearse or before we go to the studio. We've made 5 studio albums through the years, and we've made 3 of them in Denmark, in a studio in Copenhagen, 1 in Iceland, and the last one we made here in Nuuk for the first time in Greenland. So that was quite exciting, being together here in Nuuk for like a month and making music.
Did
So
that
yeah,
influence the music? You all being together in Greenland? Did that
I
influence
think
the sound?
I think I mean it's in the Atlantic studio. It's in a basement, and I think that influenced the sound very much. It it you can hear that you are in a small studio, and we really like that because the album before that had this big sound, stadium rock sound, we made in Iceland, at Sigurðar's studio over there. Very cool experience, and we kind of made the last album the opposite of that, and I think it's very down to earth compared to the other albums, and I like that. Yeah.
Have you said before that you use nature as an influence and as an inspiration. How do you tune into that? Did you kind of learn over the years as you were spending time in nature? Um, did you learn and become more connected with it? Do you feel like it's something that because of where you're from, everybody sort of has this intrinsic connection and understanding of nature? Because definitely here in the UK, we're so estranged from nature. You either get people who don't go into it at all, or
Mm.
you have to really try to go for a walk and go out and be in that space. You don't just come out of you come out of your house and it's gray everywhere. So you've got to make an effort to
Yeah.
reconnect with that spirit.
I think that's very different up here. No matter where you are in Greenland, you're close to the nature. Me and my brother, we grew up in South Greenland in a village called Nanook, which means the place with polar bears. And we grew up there, and there were like 1,200 people, and it's a little island. So we've been always close to the ocean, always close to mountains. And even here in Nuuk, that's the capital with 20,000 people. No matter where you go, you're close to the ocean. So I think it's very normal to us being close to nature, being close to this silence. You can just go it takes like 10 minutes from here, then you're out in the nature. I mean, if I step out of my house. So I think it comes very natural to us to write about it, and also to experiment with sounds that reminds us of this nature thing. And I think that it feels good when we do it. It doesn't feel strange. We don't. It just comes naturally. I think, by itself when we make the music.
Has it taught you anything? Has being in that environment taught you valuable lessons that you think you wouldn't have learned otherwise?
I think it has taught us many things after we've been seeing more of the world, after touring with the band, being in all kinds of countries, big cities, that we cherish it much more, the nature up here, after seeing what's out there, outside of Greenland. So I think we really want to have it like it is now, and
preserve it somewhat.
Preserve
that feeling.
We don't want it to change, because it's a piece that you can't really speak about. It's just a very nice feeling, you feel very small when you are in Greenland, and I like that feeling.
I guess it's one of the last strongholds
on
the planet for
it feels
something
like it,
which is untouched and still has in it infused a divine peace that hasn't been disrupted by human activity in the same way that it has in other places. And I guess that silence really is fundamental for you to be able to even hear the music that you're hearing.
Makes sense.
What it's really interesting. I think it's such an experience that is so different from my own. And it's one that I think a lot of people envy, but I don't know if they could handle it.
Adapt.
I don't know if they could. I don't know if they could. So where's your plan with music now? Like, how do you want to move forward with it? Have you got kind of projects coming up, and do you feel more obliged now to write about specific issues in that, or would you keep the content as it has been?
I mean, we've never been a political band. The closest to politics, I think, it is when we wrote some songs about the climate change, because we live here in Greenland. We see the ice melting very fast. I mean, we write about things we experience, and I didn't really think we would get these kind of feelings, but through 2025 and early this year, there's been this kind of fear in us, and anger as well, because of the disrespect from the states that's been on Greenland. And me and my brother have already written some new material. It just came out. We didn't plan anything, but we already wrote a couple of songs, and we're doing a project. We never made an acoustic album ever, and we sometimes perform acoustic shows, me and my brother, not only in Greenland but also in other countries. So we thought it was time to try that out. We have Mads, our keyboard player, doing some piano also on the upcoming acoustic album we're making. So that's the next project, where we have some new songs, but also some of our rock songs interpret them to some more acoustic. So with some piano and acoustic guitars, Spanish guitars. I think it'll come out in late next month already, actually. So we're pretty into that at the moment. We just need to be, we're going on a tour next week to Asia, to Japan, for 2 weeks. And then when we're back in Copenhagen, we'll do a show there. Then we'll be back in Nanook in March and finish this acoustic album. So looking forward to that. And yeah, it has inspired us, the situation we are in Greenland. I mean, we speak with friends and family every day, and the subject, half of it is always about the Greenland situation.
Mm.
Our children have had problems sleeping, scared children, because they speak about it in school as well. So yeah, of course, it has affected us a lot. And these feelings, yeah, we used to, yeah, express them through songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're living in such a heightened political atmosphere clearly on the planet. But what I found, and when I've spoken to other artists as well who have agreed, is that we don't seem to have the same music that has kind of narrated us through the times in the way that we had in the 60s or the 70s,
Yeah,
for
true.
example.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
don't have the Bob Marleys or the Bob Dylans or the John Lennons who are commentating on what's going on politically, but from
Yeah.
the artist's abstract point of view, which seems to be very necessary and important because it doesn't entangle up in the power dynamics of politics in the same way that
Yeah.
other people get pulled into it. And it feels like the category of artist is is almost protected somewhat if your head and your heart are in the right space anyway, to not get pulled in to the political discourse, but to
Yeah,
be able
I
to
agree.
commentate on it from the outside and stay separate from it and give people a bird's eye point of view of something which, you know, through the art, which they might not be able to hear otherwise. And obviously we know that, you know, music has such a deep effect on people internally and on their body and in their hearts and their minds, which is why these songs, some of these songs that have been written about political times or you know, can last for centuries and
Yeah.
generations and generations.
Mm.
So it's it's I definitely understand how sticky that can feel,
Yeah.
wanting to write about something like that and put it out there, um, especially when it feels like we're in a society that will just cut your head off for anything that you could potentially say wrong. And who's to measure that and who's to judge that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But you can get the axe anyway.
But I
And
think it's a nice freedom to have as an artist,
yeah,
that you can express yourself this way. I mean, I would never have I would never be able to go on a stage and write about some political stuff. It's, for me, it feels much easier to express myself through the art or through lyrics. Yeah, I think that's a privilege, for me, and gives me more freedom. Yeah.
that's beautiful, and at the same time, it's really daunting because I feel like all of us are in a situation where we are approaching the unknown somewhat
Yeah.
in the future now. And I heard I heard a guy say on Joe Rogan, actually. He said, I had an epiphany. And Joe Rogan said, "Well, what's that?" And he says, art is going to save the world. And you know, it sounds like a platitude or it sounds very trite,
Yeah.
but I really thought about that.
Mm.
And it feels like there's two options right now. That either there's some black swan event, where the aliens come down and make us
Yeah,
all
I thought about that too.
and make us all unite as a species, you know, because it feels like we need this defibrillator or this shock
Yeah.
as a humanity
True.
now in order to wake ourselves up. And it's either something like that or it's a renaissance. It's
Mm.
an artistic renaissance of music and literature which somehow starts to blossom and bloom again and has an effect on people that is beyond their logical minds. Um, and it was something to do with Alex Gray, who's an artist from the 70s, and he said with art now, he says the only way to wake people up through his particular art, which is painting and drawing, is through the abstract, because we've gone too far now. We've seen a lot of nice paintings of people and of scenery and this and of that, but the transmission almost needs to be subconscious and a lot deeper in order to get to people now.
Yeah.
I don't know how you kind of feel about that in terms of.
I think it's this. It feels very. I can recognize that in our own music. I mean, our lyrics have been very before all of this more abstract, more easy to swallow. Where now I can feel with my brother, the sentences are more direct. We're not using much metaphor, as we used to. Like something has happened without even thinking about it. It just happens naturally, automatically. And maybe it's the same with this painter you're talking about. That he's painting more direct messages now than all these abstract stuff. To get taken seriously or more directly. Yeah, because time is a killer at the moment. Yeah, you're in this waiting position, not really knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, and it's hard. Yeah, so I think that's why we've been more direct in our lyrics at the moment. Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons why have you chosen to stay independent? Like, have you had labels approach you before, and what's your kind of deal with that?
Yeah, we had is it like maybe 10? It's been years. We've had some international labels wanting to sign us if we wrote in English. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. If I was a label, I would, I wouldn't, offer a deal if it was in Greenlandic. I think. Well, I mean, it depends on the music, of course. So we did sign with smaller labels in Japan, here in Greenland, and in Scandinavia, different labels that's doing well in their territories. Yeah, but and we don't have an international huge label signing. We said no to that years ago. Yeah.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons why you can still choose to write about what you want to write about.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it gives a lot of freedom. Yeah.
Would you? Is that something? Would you consider writing in English, or does that just not resonate with you? Do you feel like you would kind of taint the message, kind of, or like not the energy wouldn't be as strong?
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it just doesn't feel right, Well, back then it was about our music translated to English, already made songs, twist them over to English, and that's the thing we had felt very hard with. But I mean, if we had to make something in English, it had to be new songs where you think a whole other perspective, I think. But we've always made, kept it in Greenlandic. We feel a lot of pride in singing in Greenlandic.
It's a beautiful language.
Yeah, it's very, yeah. We're only like 60,000 people in the world that can speak it, so we think it's unique, and it's also a statement, I think, that we want to keep our culture strong, and I think we help preserve it by singing in Greenlandic. Although we tour outside of Greenland, it's still in Greenlandic, and yeah, I think it feels good. Yeah,
I guess there's certain phrases and things that just wouldn't translate over properly that you have, and
yeah, they would get lost.
Like this.
Yeah, many things would get lost in translation. Yeah, and that's the thing that's hard to just translate into English. I can already see it on some of our YouTube videos, where we have these English subtitles, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and that's not how we wrote the lyrics. But yeah, people can get an idea about what it's about. Yeah.
What's the predominant belief system over there? Were you brought up religious at all? Is there a kind of main religion in Greenland? What are people's belief systems like? Is it more a value system of deep humanity over any sort of religious theory or anything like this?
I think it's pretty mixed. I mean, we all 90% of us up here are Christian people, but at the same time, I mean, we believe in very spiritual stuff from back to shaman times. So it's kind of a mixed. If you speak about it as a religion, it's very mixed feelings for me, because sometimes I believe in spirits. I believe in drum dancing, which is a very special way for Greenlanders to perform. It's a framed drum, and they used it back then to heal people. And sometimes, I mean, today you see rap battles, with two rappers. Back then they used these frame drums and battled with the drums instead of killing each other. So yeah, I think I think it's very mixed. What people believe in up here, yeah. Whatever works for them. We're pretty open-minded about these things up here.
Do you have like a personal connection when you hear that kind of drumming? Because I know that when I was making music years ago, and I lost all my inspiration for music for making music, what got me back there was the shamanic drum. And I had some experiences with that, and I don't know, just weirdly connected with it, and then it took me on a journey of infusing these types of tribal drums into my music, and it felt like there was just such a deep connection there for me, and a deep healing that was taking place, where I was using rhythm to shake and vibrate the trauma out of my body, and that was a way for me to do that. And it took me by surprise, to be honest, because I never particularly had any spiritual beliefs growing up or anything like that. But as soon as I started to introduce that music into my life, simply to heal myself, it wasn't to then take inspiration from it and make music. It was purely because I was at my wit's end and I had nowhere else to go. So I started.
It was your way out of the misery.
It was my way out to journey and to try and escape through this, and it just left such a mark on me that it then started to plant itself inside my music, and for me, I could touch something that I couldn't touch before through that. Did you feel
Makes sense?
Do you feel that kind of same connection?
In some points, yeah. I mean, we grew up with these drum sounds, but not many artists today use it in the music, but we do in Nanook. We have several tracks with this drum tag that is very known in Greenland. But I think it's a mix, not only the drum, but also other sounds, ambient sounds we use. Because of all these ancient stories we have, they kind of relate to these sounds for us, especially with the Northern Lights and the spirits. As an example, when I was a kid, I was told that if you whistle towards the Northern Lights, the spirits will take your head and play football with it. That's why.
That's terrifying.
That's why. Yeah, very very terrifying. Terrifying, and me and my friends, we were like, dared each other. Are you going to whistle? And that's why it's called the Northern Lights up here. That they move so fast. It's because they play football with someone's head. So yeah, and these things, it's not only about the drums, but also the sounds. It's kind of weird because it's all silent when you watch the Northern Lights, but there is some kind of sound in your head when you watch it, and they move. and that's an example of some of the sounds that we try to make in the studio, when we make the songs. So I think it's a mix with both drums and sounds when I get this feeling you're talking about. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think that's one of a really fun thing about being a musician and being an artist is that you're looking at something which is inanimate, or you're looking at something which, like you said, has no sound.
Yeah.
But as a musician, sometimes you can feel the transmission of that sound without it, with even in that silence, you can kind of feel
Yeah.
what that thing is trying to communicate, and it's almost like it's your job to speak for it.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And it
And
can sometimes be frustrating when you when you have the sound in your head, but
yeah,
you can't get it out through the equipment. Yeah, but when it works, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's really nice.
oh, I had a few years of frustration with that because I could hear all these things in my head, but it was so difficult for me to communicate to people, what I was hearing.
Mm,
And I had to kind of go on a journey and produce it myself, and get it kind of to where I kind of want to go. And really, I found an engineer that I was working on a song called Eagles, and I walk into the studio and I said, look, I've been going around different engineers, and they kind of don't understand what I'm trying to do with this, the kind of fusion I'm trying to make or something. And he looked at me and he lifted his shirt up, and he had a tattoo of a huge eagle
okay.
on his
Mm,
rib cage.
mm,
And I was like, okay, well, I'll follow the breadcrumbs here. And we've created this almost telepathic relationship where I say, you know what I'm trying to hear, right? And he goes, yeah, I know what you're trying to hear. And I think that's, now I know how important that is
mm,
to be prolific in music, and that the greats had those relationships where they could almost be telepathic with
yeah.
either their band, or whether their engineer or their master or whatever. It's kind of necessary, and it's kind of the only way sometimes
Mm,
that you can have that
ex-
communication and that transmission, because it is unspeakable sometimes what you're
yeah,
trying to
you can't
do.
explain it sometimes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not at all, but it's a bodily
Mm,
feeling that if once you all get it, you get it, and there is
yeah.
no words that need to be said, and you can drop into that space. It's a beautiful space.
Mm,
Um, well, thank you so much for speaking with me and giving me your time. It's been really eye-opening and beautiful, and I'm gonna really enjoy watching your journey from this point
great.
on.
I'm glad. I hope you can use some of it.
I
Yes.
definitely will. It's really
Mhm.
inspiring, and I'm glad, although it's a difficult situation, and
It
it's a
has some
scary
positive
situation,
things.
it it
Mm,
it does feel like it has some, I don't know, that the spirits are working through this in some
yeah.
way, to wake us up to the knowledge that has always been, at
Yeah.
the wisdom that needs to be taken from these situations in order
Mm,
for us to find our way back home as a species.
yeah.
And people like you and bands like you are being called to be involved in that process, because that spirit is inside you too.
Mm, yeah. I mean, that it's pretty much all we can rely on at the moment. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a cosmic checkmate in that sense.
Yeah.
When, with AI, you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not.
Mm,
And then, funnily enough, the only real experience you can count on is around the fireplace again, with your
yeah.
brothers and sisters, playing the guitar, singing music, boiling your tea, and going back to a very basic experience. And that is the laughing joke of the whole thing, really, that it's kind of
Yeah.
goes whoop,
Well,
back
it's
to
true.
square one.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Well, Christian, thank you so much. Really love this talk, and I'm really gonna, like I said, enjoy following your journey.
Yeah.
Is there?
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Mm.
Yes, thank you so much. Where can where can everyone find you? Just, you know, in terms of.
The band, I mean, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And YouTube I think YouTube is where people really see us. We spend a lot of time on music videos, and they're very popular on YouTube. But
I
yeah,
love that. I love that. Well, if
we're
you're ever,
not student.
if you're ever in the UK, my friend, I'll be there.
Yeah, I hope so sometime. Yeah.
Yeah.